Let's start this story during the fight between Obi-Wan Kenobi and General Grievous. Kenobi had initially got the upper hand on Grievous, disarming 2 of his 4 lightsabers. The droid general realized the severity of the situation, that Kenobi might be the one strong enough to defeat him. He makes a run for it on his circular speeder bike as Kenobi goes to call his boga to follow. But in this story, Grievous will send a command to the surrounding forces to fire upon Kenobi's boga, destroying it before it can get to Obi-Wan, and Kenobi can no longer follow. By the time Obi-Wan would get to his speeder to follow, Grievous would be too far gone. The general knows the base is lost and leaves Utapau and his forces at the mercy of the clone army. He contacts Palpatine from his ship and asks his master for new orders, expecting to be sent to Mustafar with the rest of the Separatist leaders. But Palpatine commands Grievous to go to Sereno and await at Dooku's palace for his orders. Palpatine doesn't want Grievous to interfere with the events that will no doubt follow in the next 24 hours. Grievous does this like the dog he is, and doesn't get involved in the final events of Revenge of the Sith. The following 48 hours happens as it does in the movies. Anakin turning to the dark side, Order 66, the duel on Mustafar, and Anakin becoming the mechanical creation Darth Vader. Palpatine meets with Grievous in a week's time, and explains to him the events that have transpired. The fall of the Republic, with the Separatist defeat, and rise of the Empire. And Grievous understands why a Separatist figurehead couldn't be involved. But Palpatine tells Grievous that their war is not over. The Jedi still live all around the galaxy, and he needs Grievous to hunt down every last one of them. Grievous accepts his master's wishes, as his fight has always been against the Jedi, since they committed genocide against his people years ago. He will not stop until every last one of them is defeated. Palpatine tells Grievous he will give him command of the Inquisitorius program, his band of specialized Jedi hunters. Their numbers are few now, but he tasks him with growing this order under his command, turning Jedi to the dark side, and using them to wipe out the remaining Jedi from the galaxy. Grievous accepts this gracefully, and is excited to begin. Their numbers include himself, the Grand Inquisitor, and the Fourth Sister. But Palpatine tells Grievous that the galaxy will not accept him in his current state, as the people will only see the former Separatists, and not liberator of the Jedi. He takes him back to Coruscant, to his own personal factory, where he shows Grievous the blueprints of his new mechanical upgrades. Grievous enters, as the droids around him begin disassembling his parts one by one. The room only lit by the occasional spark of arc wielders and the eerie glow of volatile materials. They worked in silence around him, their moves precise and purposeful. This was no ordinary upgrade. It was a transformation, a rebirth for the general, who had once been known as the greatest Jedi killer in the galaxy. The centerpiece of his armor was a massive slab of Beskar, the nearly indestructible Mandalorian iron, revered for its resistance to lightsabers and blaster fire. Beside it was a shard of Cortosis, imbued into Grievous's peripheries for extra strength. Grievous watched with his unblinking reptilian eyes, his mind racing with the possibilities. His current form had served him well, but it was time for an upgrade. The armor was sealed, the joints fused, with a polymer blend of the strongest metals and plastics to ensure smoother and faster movements. But the ultimate creation was the design of his new helmet, a symbol to Jedi that their deaths were upon them. The mask of the old Grievous represented fear to many, and now his new mask would do the same. The transformation was complete, and the general stood, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. The armor was more than just an upgrade. It was a statement of his return, a declaration of his intent to dominate the galaxy once more. No Jedi, no warrior could stand against him now. With a low rasping laugh, General Grievous strode out of the forging chamber, his new armor gleaming in the dim light, and the galaxy would soon learn to fear him once again. Over the following months, Grievous begins hunting down the surviving Jedi alongside his Inquisitors, as the whispers of Jedi survivors around the galaxy begin to speak. They turn more to their side, increasing the size of their forces, and the general leads them ruthlessly. Grievous resides at the fortress on the moon of Nur in the Mustafar system, and he became obsessed with hunting down the Jedi. They run from Grievous, and the joy he feels cutting them down is immeasurable. He's ecstatic that the tides have turned against them, and they are the prey, and he's the hunter. His new upgrades proved effective, as he successfully kills key Jedi Luminara Unduli, Quinlan Vos, and Eth Koth. One day after months of this, Palpatine arrives on Ner and brings Lord Vader with him. Grievous kneels as he sees Palpatine walk in, but he doesn't recognize the dark figure next to him. But he walks in with grace and power and is no doubt a man of importance. But Vader almost pauses when he sees Grievous. Although his appearance has changed, he can sense the same person. He knows Palpatine must be testing him, and he'll ensure he remains composed, but cannot help but feel a flicker of anger inside of him towards Grievous. Palpatine entered, and Grievous addressed him as their master. Palpatine praises him and the Inquisitors for their job in hunting down the Jedi, and he's very impressed with their progress. But he's brought them something extra to help with their efforts. He introduces his apprentice, Darth Vader, and proclaims he will join the Inquisitor program and will become the co-owner of the Inquisitorius alongside General Grievous. Both Grievous and Vader are shocked by this. Grievous is furious after he built up the Inquisitor program from nothing and has implemented all his hard work in killing tens of Jedi. Vader is also furious. He expected to be given complete leadership of the Inquisitors, not a co-leader, having to answer to someone else, let alone Grievous. Palpatine is doing this to test Vader, and plans for Grievous to become a sort of rival to him, testing his power to suppress Anakin Skywalker, but also foster hate inside of him to increase his power. Together, General Grievous and Darth Vader lead the Inquisitors, but this arrangement was far from harmonious. Grievous, with his cold and calculating mind and ruthless efficiency, believed himself to be the true leader of the Inquisitorius, and often embarked on missions with little regard for Vader's input and his twisted sense of pride, driving him to prove his superiority. This enraged Vader, and often worked to undermine and sabotage Grievous's missions. Furious at the cyborg's insolence, each sought to outdo the other, leading separate missions for surviving Jedi. The Inquisitors were caught in the crossfire and were left to navigate the treacherous ground between the two formidable masters, aware that their lives hung on the thin thread of their leader's volatile partnership. Their allegiance was divided, half of the Inquisitors believing Grievous was their leader, as he established the Inquisitor program, whereas the other half sided with Vader, since he was the true Sith apprentice of the Emperor. Vader and Grievous's rival was palpable, a constant undercurrent that threatened to boil over at any moment. They have an intense rivalry, fighting for Sidious's favor with who can hunt down the most Jedi. This goes on for months, until they both meet with Sidious, and Vader proclaims to his master that he can no longer work with Grievous, that he's an insufferable droid that cannot listen, follow orders, and has no business leading the Inquisitors. But Grievous fights back, saying that without him, the Inquisitors are nothing, and he shouldn't have to deal with an outsider inserting his opinion where it isn't required. Palpatine tells them that they sound like children, but he has a solution to their problem. He issues them a challenge, the first one to hunt down and kill Darth Maul, a long-standing enemy of the Empire and Sith traitor, will become the sole leader of the Inquisitors and lead the rest of the Inquisitorial program. Vader spews that Darth Vader refuses to die, even after all this time, and the Jedi could never kill him. Palpatine laughs, accusing Vader of knowing Maul quite well, and can sense his emotions towards him, which causes Vader to go silent. But Grievous no doubt notices this. He's always wondered who Vader really is, and Palpatine might have given him the first hint. Vader no doubt knows about Maul's history, and to do so must have been closely linked to their events, hinting to Grievous that Vader was once a Jedi. It all makes sense. His hatred towards the Jedi, hiding his existence with a mask. It opens the question, who could he be? Both Vader and Grievous set off, eager to win this challenge. The majority of the Inquisitors were loyal to Grievous, due to him setting up the program, and they joined in helping him hunt down Maul. Whereas Vader was on his own, forced to hire bounty hunters and other criminals in order to find the Dathmerian. They both worked day and night, restlessly searching for the lost Sith, as Palpatine watches the competition with joy. Who will find Maul first? But the one to find him first was Grievous, as his Inquisitors sent him footage of Maul through an anonymous tip. The person who sent the video is paid handsomely, and Grievous hunts him down on Severine. At this time, Maul was beginning his tirades of the crime syndicates, slowly taking power and gaining control for himself. But Grievous's fighter shoots down Maul's ship, causing it to crash, and the Sith Lord gets out, ready to fight his attacker. Grievous lands his ship in response and walks down the ramp as Maul realizes who his attacker is. the new and improved General Grievous. He ignites his double blade in response, as Grievous one by one ignites his 4 sabers and rushes the Sith Lord. Their blades clash, each ignited with their hatred towards each other. Maul is motivated by survival, whereas Grievous is motivated by ambition. Maul is using all his speed to keep up with Grievous's pace, but notices an opportunity to strike. He slashes at Grievous's upper arm, but to his surprise, his saber bounces right back as he realizes it too late. Grievous's new armor must be semi-resistant to sabers. Grievous brings his saber down and cuts Maul's blade in half and holds him down with his foot. He stands over him victorious as Maul begins to beg Grievous to let him go, that he'll give him anything he wants. But there's nothing he can give him, or is there? Grievous tells Maul that if he answers one question, he will consider letting him free. He asks Maul if he knows Darth Vader, Palpatine's apprentice's true identity, but Maul looks back confused, saying he's only heard whispers of Vader and has never seen him with his own eyes. He was previously mistaken, believing Anakin Skywalker was the one to become Palpatine's apprentice, but he was mistaken. A switch turns inside Grievous. Anakin Skywalker. Could Vader be Anakin? Grievous asks Maul why he thought this, who told him about how he had a vision of Palpatine turning Anakin to his side and using him against the Jedi to gain control over the galaxy. Grievous couldn't believe this, and what Maul has just told him has cemented it in his mind. It all makes sense. The whole reason why Vader came out of nowhere was because he was the Jedi, Anakin Skywalker, and is now something completely different. Grievous won't let Maul go, as he has to take him back to Palpatine, but thanks him for the useful information. But as Grievous goes to release his grip on Maul, he's sent flying back with the Force. He gets up confused, because Maul couldn't have sent a blast like this, and looks over to his side to see Vader walking towards Maul. Grievous curses. Vader must have been tracking his ship and heard the news of his sighting of Maul. Vader walks up to the Dathmerian, and Maul begins pleading for his life, but Vader was ruthless and ignored these pleads, snapping Maul's neck on the spot. He grabs Maul's body and begins heading back to his ship, as Grievous screams that he's already won the challenge because he found Maul first. But Vader turns back, asking if the Emperor would believe such lies. They both rush off in their ships, Vader with Maul's body as they explode into hyperspace and rush towards Coruscant at maximum velocity. They both exit hyperspace and rush down towards the planet's surface and land outside the former Jedi Temple where Palpatine's office is. They rush past the guards as Vader enters first and puts Maul's body down in front of Palpatine, declaring himself the victor. But Grievous enters shortly after, proclaiming Vader is full of lies, has stolen his prized possession, and he has the footage to prove it. They begin to bicker with each other, both proclaiming they were the ones who found Maul and won the challenge. Palpatine enjoys this, as he can sense the anger fostering inside Vader, exactly like he envisioned. They get closer and closer, each itching towards their lightsabers, and the tension in the room has almost reached its peak. But Grievous takes it to the next level, and tells Vader that he is a liar and a traitor, exactly something he'd expect from the Jedi traitor Anakin Skywalker. Vader's eyes go wide under his helmet. How could Grievous possibly know who he was? And bursts into an unfathomable rage. Even Palpatine was surprised that the droid general figured it out. Vader ignites his lightsaber in a fury and unleashes a parade of slashes at Grievous, who ignites his 4 in response. The droid kicks into full gear, his mechanical arms twirling faster than the average eye can see, forcing Vader to switch from attack to defense, as anyone would struggle to defend against Grievous's onslaught. But Vader kept up, his anger at the mention of his name, Anakin Skywalker, fueling him. This unlocked the memories of his past in his mind, increasing his power through the pain and hatred he feels. Vader blocks all 4 of Grievous's blades, and the droid attempts to use his might to overcome Vader, and kicks him in the chest across the room. Vader momentarily falls down, but stands and realizes the mistakes Grievous has made. He deignites his lightsaber and uses the Force faster than Grievous can advance towards him. Vader squeezes Grievous's chest with the Force, stopping him in place, ripping off one arm after the other as Grievous squeals in pain, knowing the end is near for him. Vader crushes his lung cavity as the droid's breathing begins to go raspy as he ignites his lightsaber once again and sends it flying directly at Grievous's heart. The general can do nothing to block, and Vader's red blade pierces his heart, killing him once and for all. Vader stands victorious as Palpatine congratulates him for his victory. He successfully confronted his past and won, and now the entirety of the inquisitorial program was his. Vader thanks his master, as Palpatine excuses him back to Nur. On the way out, Vader picks up Grievous's droid head, a trophy for him to place at his castle on Mustafar. Palpatine smirks as Vader leaves, as he can sense this was a useful task for Vader to complete in his journey for power. He looks over towards Grievous's parts, scattered across the floor. The general played his role successfully, and did exactly what he needed him to do: hunt down some surviving Jedi, and set up the Inquisitor program. He played his part well, and now had no further use for him. If you enjoyed this video, check out what if Thanos' snap affected the Star Wars galaxy, and what if General Grievous was a Republic spy. Please let me know what you thought of the video, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.